to Center 3. We might have you guys out of here in record time tonight. We'll see. Oh, do you guys want to do me a favor and just shut the door only for the video so it's more quiet? Oh, is it your kid, Heather? Of course it is. Okay. Center 3, this is where the bulk of all the skeletons and heads are going to be. A lot of the teachers have limited space in their classrooms, so we found these two tables at the end of this like janitor hallway, and I'm sure if you check in with them, they're not going to mind if you want to use them just for the 2.5 hour block. They're probably not even using them. So, and if there is space in the classroom, you can set them out. You do not, this is the wide range of everything we have, and so you do not have to display all of them. And for this particular center, for each round that you do, depending on how much time you have left, you're only using 4 skulls at a time. So, because they are going to have to, it's kind of like identify that skull. It's a mystery game, and they're going to have to use a lot of clues. We've got a lot of things out that they can use for resources, and I'll go through that in a minute. But they're going to be, I'm going to be taking all the little tags off that show what they are, and then when you guys go to put them back, if they don't have the little tag on them, they have little tiny identifying numbers on all of them. So, and most of them have upper and lower jaws, and most of them are not attached. So we're going to have to be really careful to kind of keep everything together. But you'll notice there is a teeny tiny little number that the Museum of Nature and Science use to identify all their stuff. It is, it's right there. It's kind of written on like white, and it's got a little identifying number. And if you'll notice on your outline, I went ahead and typed up every possibility of all the different choices you guys can use, and then I put the numbers with them, so that when you go to pack them up, you're packing them up in the right little Ziploc bag, and with the right kind of packing, and all that kind of stuff. So that's just like a logistical thing, but all these little labels are going to be taken off so that the kids can identify them. So anyway, more than one volunteer is suggested for the center for obvious reasons. If you can have 2, that would be great, and if you can't, you can get by. Let's see, all of these are on loan from the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, and we have to get them back in one piece, obviously, so just be super careful when you're packing them up and when the kids are handling them. So beforehand, you're going to set out what you want to set out, and then you're going to pick 4 from the 4 different diet or 1 from each different diet category. And right now I've got them color-coded, like pink is an insectivore, green is an herbivore, brown is I think a carnivore. It's all listed on that sheet. The omnivores are brown. So, and then for sure you're going to want to show them the walrus tusk. And then when you pull out each one, you can also talk about, like if you were to pull out the grizzly bear for omnivore, here it is right here. Great big guy. The canines are for tearing, the broad flat molars are for grinding seeds, fruits, leaves, and roots. The large skull has plenty of bone to anchor the strong jaw muscles. So you're not going to tell them what it is right off, but you can kind of give them little clues and point out little things, but it's obviously still a mystery. Where am I on here? Tell the kids the 2-hand touch rule again, and try not to have them handle them. You can lay them on the floor and they can be kind of working, but you don't want them to be moving the skulls around. And then you're going to set up like mystery identification. So like on all these I have like different numbers, so if you picked 1 from each diet type, you're going to put like a number 1 and number 2, number 3 and number 4. And then you can write possible choices and try to throw them off. You know, like you could write on the board, here's the choices for group number 1, and you could even do some random ones that wouldn't even be here. And then the students can go through the animal ID sheet on their own. So this is where you kind of have a choice. Here is the skull investigation sheet. I made enough copies for probably almost every kid. But if you're the type of person that you don't want them sitting there writing on a worksheet and you just want to talk to them and point things out, since you only have 20 minutes, I think this can be a great point for discussion. So you'd say, how many incisors does the skull have? How many canine teeth? How many molars? Are most of the teeth flat or sharp? It's okay. It's and then you want them to look at the teeth. What do you think this animal ate? Do you think it ate plants? Why? Insects, rodents, or other small prey, larger prey, a variety of things. So they look at the teeth and they try to figure out what goes with that animal. And then do you think the skull is that of a carnivore, a meat eater, a herbivore, an insectivore, or an omnivore? And then the last couple questions, look at the skull's size. How big is it? Are the eye sockets large or small? Is the nose short or long? And then what kind of animal do you think it is? And then since they are not going to have a whole lot of background information on some of these really odd animals that we have, we went ahead, there's an actual book that has like pretty much every single animal that we have over here. And you're going to have these laying out, and you can whittle it down. You don't have to lay out this whole entire stack, like pick out like maybe 5 or 6 to throw them off. And then they can look at the skulls and try to match them up. There's skulls on each one of these, information about the animal, what the animal looks like, all that kind of stuff. But we have it for all the animals. So like I said, this is way too much stuff, and then you kind of pick what you want to do. So that's what's kind of cool about this center. You can pick your favorite stuff. And so then they narrow the choices. They try to identify the animal, and then if you've got a group of 6 kids, like if you can split them up into groups, like 2 kids can be working together, or one child can be trying to identify one skull and share it with the rest of the group. Let's see. And then when you're done and you've identified quite a few of them, you can ask them how one skull might differ from another and kind of share all of your results together. And then if you have extra time, you can have your next batch of 4 ready to go. And they might be so much faster at identifying which one is the insectivore, for example. Like the insectivores, like here's an anteater. Like it's got the long nose, so it can get all its little bugs and stuff like that. It doesn't have any teeth. So, there you go. So they're just going to get faster and faster in identifying which animal is which type of prey. And that about wraps it up for Center 3. But this is the coolest center, and if you want to take longer time on this...
Now wait a minute.
It is. It's the coolest.
So are you suggesting this one would be good in the hall with the tables?
Yeah, would you feel comfortable us leaving them in the hall, like when we're going in and out, that other classes might be walking by and...
We could have a little announcement on Mitchell Morning News that maybe some of these are going to be set up out in the hallways, and they are certainly not allowed to touch them if an adult is stepping into the room to get the next group of students. Yeah. Whatever you feel comfortable with, we just want to try to get these back in good condition. And then I'm going to go through a quick little thing of how to pack them up. So the anteater, all of them come with a big Ziploc bag. They have the identifying thing, even the diet type. And then you just wrap them up really carefully. If they have separate jaws, like this bobcat skull is so fragile, like maybe wrap the wrapping around the top and around the bottom. You put it in the little Ziploc bag so it's packed really well. And then the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, on some of these, they have major labels already. And I will do my best to kind of cover those up, like with a sticky note or something where it doesn't damage it from the way they gave it to us. But some of them I can't really change, so I'll just try to cover them up as best I can. And then they'd be like, what did you do to ourselves? This is a super cool one. This is a bat. Little brown bat. There we go. Look at that. So, and if they come in these little cases, obviously do not open up the little cases for them to touch and all the time. If they're like this, let's leave them like that. So just to minimize damage. And And then a few centers we are sharing, like the elephant molar goes in center 4 technically, but if you want to grab it for a few minutes just to show the kids, like this is a classic herbivore, so. what we can do
Pass
is
around, we're
everybody
getting
sharing.
screws on us. Pass around that elephant molar.
This is just a synthetic elephant molar.
Elephants have 6 teeth and they cycle kind of like a shark. Once they kind of wear them down, they lose them and then they,
And that wraps it up. Oh, and we always have so many resources in the bin. We're gonna have, you know, all the information sheets and everything like that.
So Amy, you were talking about packing them up too. Does it matter which skulls go in which bin or?
No, there is one bin without a lid, and you'll know which one it is, and it's even labeled on the outside when you grab it. I'll show you.
Just make sure to put the heavy skulls at the bottom and the light ones on the top, and we don't know for sure where they'll be down in the
This one
workroom.
right here is for the deer and the walrus. So, and it's just gonna have packing wrapped around it or whatever inside here, and it's not gonna have any Ziploc bags. So those are just for those two with no lid. And then we have 2 other bins. We don't mind how you put them, you know, whatever, but just obviously the super heavy skulls down at the bottom and the super light ones at the top. And then you just pack them in the little Ziploc bags. Ready for the next group. And put the lids on. That's about it. Okay.
Any questions on Center 3, on packing them up or taking good care?
You guys are adults.